You're in Seattle now, right? Or Oregon?
I'm in Oregon at the moment, but we're going kind of international, so I wouldn't be here for long.
Yeah. See, this is my problem with you. I don't know where you are. Next one day you are in UK, next thing you're in Italy, next thing you're in Oregon.
Yeah, it's one of the fun part of the work, and it's also the hard part of the work. You have to do the work.
Hello. Welcome to the first episode of this podcast. Today, I will be discussing with Ayodeji Fowode, who is a tech startup founder and CEO. He will share how he communicates his ideas to the people who bring them to life. Ayo, thanks for joining me.
It's a pleasure.
So tell me a little bit about your background and journey so far for our listeners to understand how we want to go about this discussion with you.
I went to Florida Tech University. I did my undergrad in chemical engineering, master's in business management, and I did business administration as well. And also had a project management certification. I initially was working as a chemical engineer, but I switched my career to IT, and I was working in the Silicon Valley for about a year or so, working as a project manager for Humana. And after working over there, I realized that I had a couple of ideas when I was in FIT when I was doing my master's. One of the projects we were doing was you have to start your own business and kind of create business plans and things like that. So one of the ideas that I had while I was doing my master's, I in my when I was working for Human as a project manager, that I had I had enough experience to do the same thing to bring it to life and all of that. So I took those years of experience and started running with it, asking questions. I went to like business meetings. I went to like SBC, like Google Meetups and things like that. I did that for like about 2 years before
Mm-hmm.
I branched out and then finally started my own first company. That was about 6 years ago. Initially, the first few years were very tough. Transitioning from like working for somebody and then working for yourself, trying to figure out how to run things, who to hire. I had a bit of experience and a bit of like backup from my parents because my dad owns his own business. So it was good to have someone to ask questions and things like that. But I always sort of looked into like online advices, and there's a lot of resources. There's a lot of sort of business advices online that you could get for free. So I
Okay.
always use those resources, especially being from England. There's a lot of like small business help because England is quite small. You get a lot of resources from there. And I know America has its own. Each state has their own as well that they do, where states that are like free help where couple of guys that I normally used to go with. I'm not sure if they're still there now, but when I was in California, these guys were like in the 70s, the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Some things they've been doing. So
Oh, okay.
those really helped on like how I started my things, and you would make mistakes and things like that. It's natural for your first few years, but then it gives you the importance of like the the joy of actually going through that process, that initial stage of you starting your business, the struggles, the pain, the sleepless nights, things like that you go through.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, this is what it's 5, 6 years now. If we count, this counts like the few years of COVID, and
Yeah.
I just started last year. I started another business, so I currently have 4 companies that I'm running, one company that I'm a partner of, and currently in talks about another project that we're looking to start next year.
I'm familiar with one of your pet projects. When I met you, we spoke about one of them. I want you to kind of briefly tell us how you came up about that idea to start it up. Like what motivated you to say, I want to create this particular product? Because the idea of this whole discussion is to learn how to create products, how to put those products out, and I think you are like more rounded in the sense that as a startup person, you need to know a lot of things about the business and a lot of things about the product you are pushing out.
Okay. So my biggest project is Unileap.
Yes.
I would
Yes.
it's not my I would say my baby, sort of my pet project, like the one that took me into the whole business world is Unileap. Now I have other pet projects that I'm passionate about that I'm pretty much doing because I just love starting businesses. But Unileap is what kind of gave me that whole confidence that booster. And it was pretty much simple. Right during my master's, I realized there weren't that many resources. Like, so we had like social networking platforms that were designed. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, everything was designed for outside of education.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing designed for while you're a student, while you're learning. Like
Yes.
what platform is there for you as a student? So you look at high school students all the way to your last day as a student. There is no platform that is designed that just says, okay, if you're a student, this is what is out there for you. So now you do your research, you realize a lot of people do Google search, a lot of people use like the paid applications like Check, Yahoo Student. Some of them are free, some of them are paid. But you tend to have no correlation, no unification, no platform that is saying this is what it is. And initially, I had that idea. I was just like, well, there has to be something. Why can't anyone create that? And when I started doing my research, I realized Facebook started to do that, but they branched off to social, like full-blown social media, which is fine. They went after the money. Now, I did some research. I realized a couple of companies tried to do. They weren't successful because the gravity of work that needs to be done is very high.
Yes.
Now, that's where the challenge came in. And being an engineer originally, it's the reason it's easy for me to start things is when I see a problem, I want to solve it.
Yep.
So now when I find a solution to a problem, I'm like, okay, fine. Has anyone else come up with a solution? If there's no one else that is coming up with a solution that I found, then I'm gonna test that idea. I'm gonna go to people, like float the ideas and see what people say. So that was
Mm-hmm.
what I did with Unilever. I went to different universities and I went, okay, I have this idea. What do you guys think of this? I went to like business people and everyone told me their own opinion. So like it was correlation of different opinions. The idea itself was good. My approach to the idea was what I was getting advice on. So like that was the first thing that solidified my plan was when I asked people, okay, fine, this is a good idea. So I went to
Mm-hmm.
high school students. I went to my little cousins and I asked them, I was like, okay, fine, you're in high school. How are you? What resources are you using? For example, decide what university you're going to go to.
Mm.
And it's like, well, internet. Like you Google which is the best university, and you just pick from there.
And you
And if you
get,
notice, and
yeah, and you also get
yeah,
from Wikipedia too.
exactly. And I'm in a similar boat. I had applications to MIT, Georgia Tech, and Florida Tech. And I solely picked Florida Tech because it was in Florida. I wanted to be in Florida. Coming from England, I wanted to be in Florida and enjoy it. You
The
can't,
warmth.
a 17-year-old, a 17-year-old making that decision is not making the best decision.
Right.
You're making the decision out of random advice or things that you're passionate about, not your career goals.
Yes.
So, like, I graduated with a pretty good degree, and I tried to apply for a position with Shell. Even though I went through the interview, they told me that my university wasn't, my resume and everything was good, but my university is not on the list of universities that they,
Wow.
so I couldn't go through. Like, I had a good resume, I had a good degree, I everything, but I couldn't work for them because, and I had my cousins, so I had one of my cousins that actually worked for Shell and they moved to Texas. And they said the same thing. It was like, if you really want to work for us, go and do a master's degree in one of these universities.
Hmm.
That way, you have a master's from this university, and then plus the undergrad, then it's for you to just apply. And then
Hmm.
in my mind, I was just like, well, that's not right. Like, so those are the things
Motivated
I
you to
that
do that.
motivated me. Like, well, so now if I don't go to an Ivy League school, if I go to a normal school, I want to have the resources. So I created Unileap not for the top 100 universities. I created Unileap for the remaining 40,000 universities. There are over 40,000 universities in the world. And if you take away the top, let's say the 1,000 universities, everyone behind that is lacking.
Right.
So where Unileap is coming from is I want to create a networking information platform where regardless of what university you're in, you could literally be in a university in France, you've ever heard of, and be able to communicate with other students at MIT, at Harvard, at UCLA, at South Africa, China, India. You could have a platform where when you get on that platform, we don't have to be buddies and friends. We can learn from each other. I can learn from the previous guys. Because for me, when I started my business, that was what helped me the most. I went to the people that were already done, that already did it, that
Similar
already
to that.
did something similar, and they gave me advice. So now, for students, 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old students, it could lead me a career-changing information. So I have a chemical engineering degree that I've only worked as a chemical engineer for 6 months. And my degree is there. I've only worked as a chemical engineer for 6 months because I ended up changing my career in my master's because I wanted to do something else. Because after working 6 months as a chemical engineer, I realized it wasn't as fun as it was described. Like being a student is fine, being an engineer is fine, but this is not what I wanted to do.
Yeah, your passion is not that.
This is not my passion.
Right.
So I switched, and I'm lucky because I'm in a position to switch, but not everybody gets that chance to switch.
So you have an idea. You see, you want to create this product, you want to create this service, and you've already put up your plan. Everything is in your own eyes. Everything looks nice and perfect. How did you come up with the team to execute that idea? What sort of people did you put together? I'm speaking in terms of are we going to pick product managers, program managers, engineers, architects? How did you come about that set of people to say, okay, this team is good enough for me to execute my idea?
Well, so the first advice that I always put, the top of my list advice that I got when I was branching was, I remember I was in California, I was in a meeting with Google, and there was this old guy that I spoke to, and he said, it is better to have 100 of something than to have 100% of nothing.
True.
So if you try to do everything by yourself, you are going to fail.
Right.
So your first thing to do is list down what is your best. What is it that I can do as a businessman?
True.
For me, my skills set is project management. I can manage 10, 20 projects. I can multitask it. So I already put my role down, project management. So now what do I need? I need a marketing guy. I need a business guy. I need a finance guy. I need a tech guy. I need this like that. I can manage all these people. But if I try to do all the work by myself, and a lot of people do that when they start a startup because you don't have that much money to hire everyone.
True.
So what you end up doing is you want to do all the work by yourself. So the work that you really is subpar. When my first beta test that we did, I did that at MIT. It failed, completely failed. Because I did a lot of the coding myself. I brought in some freelancer guys to work with me. During our Q&A, I was expecting maybe 20, 30 people. There was over 500 downloads and the server crashed. We weren't expecting that much people. And MIT is a big school, so I didn't think there was going to be that many people that was going to show more like testing. And there were more people that did. But then I wasn't, because I didn't have that experience, I wasn't aware of something like that. I wasn't aware of load testing. I wasn't aware of things like that. So it crashed and the people were disappointed. Rightfully so. But then that's one of the things you learn from. And that's one of the things that you would have gotten advice from if you spoke to someone. Initial company, I had an advisor that came in that I paid, that literally all they did was advise me on steps of this is what you're supposed to do. So if I'm doing a product that is a tech product, so let's say for example I'm FlexiTech, for example. So let's say the next project that I'm doing is finance. I'm not gonna look for a finance person that has experience in business, that's already done multiple things. So not just applications, not just development. I want someone that has been through that. It doesn't have to be a business owner. It could have been someone that is just a manager that was in that process. What I want to see is, were you in the beginning of the project towards the launch of the project? Because that's the part that is the most delicate. Once your product is launched and you have users, it's a lot easier. A lot of companies fail in the first 2 years because they can't get past that. So you want to find someone that has experience of being in the process of starting a business. And even if you're going to give them equity, there's a lot of companies that will do that. They will take equity out of your company, so which is fair. Because if someone is willing to take equity in your business, that means they believe in your idea.
True.
Compared to someone that just wants to pay cash because that person just wants to get paid and get out. If you find someone that is willing to take equity, that means the person has a vision of what you're doing and say, okay, fine, I think what you're doing will work if we do it this way. I cannot guarantee it will work, but I think it will work because now I'm trying to help you save money. I'm trying to help you cut corners. And if it's successful, equity-based, I can make more money.
True.
So the first thing you need to do is find out what you are good at. Generally, if you're just coming out of college, you're not that good at most things. So you need to find another thing. If you've had work experience in a specific field, then you are good at something that you've been working on for years. Find out what it's needed to complete that project from day one to the day you launch your project. Find those people, hire them however you want to hire them, bring them on your team. If you have a team of people, your success percentage goes up by at least 60%.
True. So
that's the key. Now how successful you are depends on how good your team is and how good you come up with ideas. And a lot of people, I always do this. If I bring in, so when it comes to design, for example, I always hire something like a UX designer, and I tell them what I want in the application for improvement. But I give them the flexibility to do what they want. So the one thing that people tend to also do is try to micromanage a project because it's your idea, it's your baby, I want it done this way. No. I'm not a designer and I don't know how to design things. So when I bring in a designer, I want him to use his own creativity to design the project for me.
True.
That's what I hire him for. So now if I try to start I don't like this one, I don't like that one, I want you to do it like this, I want you to do it like that. Yes, there's a bit of elements that you can change, but you need to give that person, because that person, their own skill is in that. That's what they are good at. Let them flourish in that position. So if I'm good at project management, let me manage the project. If you're good at coding, I'm not gonna tell you, even though I might know how to code, I'm not gonna tell you how to write your code or how to structure your code. I'm gonna let you do that. The final product, if it looks good, that's fine. If I have an issue with something, I will let you know this is what I have issues. I'm not going to tell you. If you're a business guy, if you're a finance guy, and you're telling us, okay, fine, this is what I think we do with the money, this is how I think we structure the payment, I'm going to let you handle that because that is what you have been doing for a long time. That is what you have experienced in. And that's where the trust comes in, because now you can grow trust. Now people would work better and work harder when they feel like they're being valued.
True. What you've said so far is about being able to communicate your ideas clearly and being able to make people key into that so they can have proper designs and start everything, start the ball rolling so you can have exactly what you wanted. My next question would be, which is something that has always bothered me about creating products and startups. How do you manage copyright? Because you might think you have an idea that is very novel, but someone else might have the same thing as you do. So how do you manage making yours unique and copyrights, making it your product?
Okay, so that is in a few ways. There's a lot of things you can do to protect yourself. So I would say don't protect yourself. So you can get a copyright if some things you can file a patent for.
some things you cannot. So my idea is, so let's say social media, for example, it's a social thing. You cannot file a patent for it. Everybody just has access to it. Now, but one thing that I was told from the beginning is I normally have people sign NDAs and things like that.
Yes.
And one thing I was beginning is if your idea is unique enough, it's going to be hard to steal.
True.
That's one.
True.
2, if you're not prepared for competition, you're not ready. So even if I started my business today and somebody else started the exact similar business tomorrow, I should be prepared for that. If I spend a whole lot of time trying to hide the product, I made it public about 2-3 years ago. Actually, I've been telling people, but I made it like general public when I did the Q&A 2-3 years ago, and I announced the launch on all social media. I haven't seen anyone try to copy it.
That's the Unileap, right?
Yes, I haven't seen anyone try to copy it here in years. Since I started like the whole Q&A, started all like the whole business side of it and everything, that I put it out there, like that I'm doing this. I haven't seen anyone try to copy it because the work that I put in before I put it out was a lot of work. And anyone that goes to try to do that work, you should be prepared to spend the amount of
time you spent. Yeah.
So
sorry to cut you off.
Yes.
So are you saying that you'll be comfortable for your idea to be copied? For example, the way Snapchat was copied by Instagram using Instagram stories. I mean, it took a while for them to get it, but they got it eventually. And it's like a good selling point for Instagram. So how do you manage that?
But Snapchat value and number of users have still increased every year since then.
True.
So the more people copied it, the more they elevated Snapchat. So now, if your product is unique and known to you, even if someone tried to copy, look at Google Plus, for example. Google Plus tried to copy Facebook. At the end of the day, they packed up.
Yes, they did. It didn't last long at all.
It didn't last long because they couldn't manage it. They couldn't fathom the work that it took to get Facebook to where it is. They didn't try to be unique. They literally tried to copy Facebook. So there's nothing you can do. The government, the law does not completely protect you from someone stealing your idea. Like you can open a shop and your next door neighbor can open the exact same shop next to you.
And people are really good. People are really good with reverse engineering nowadays.
Exactly.
They just see it and they just see, well, okay, we can repeat this, we can replicate this, and they get it the same way you do.
So the same way people talk about Yahoo, Google. Yahoo was there before Google. MSN was there.
Yes.
People didn't even copy their idea and they're gone because they didn't create. They didn't have a contingency plan for being copied. They didn't have that backup plan for how do we innovate ourselves. So if I came in today, so the plan that I have for Unileap is 10 years in advance. What is set out right now is leading to multiple things that are coming. So if someone copied what I'm doing now, you better be ready to start copying because if the first stage of Unileap is successful, there is more to come.
Right.
That is a business plan. That's why you have 5 years, 6 years, 7-year projection of what you're planning to do. So now, if you come in and copy my idea, plan of your own,
and it's ready to copy all the way through to the next 10 years.
You're most likely going to fail because after the first stage, when I bring in a new update, when I bring in a version of the application, now your business is like, oh wait, we didn't see that coming. So yes, people, if your idea is unique, if you've done your work, to be honest, it is a sign of respect if someone tries to copy me.
Yeah. Right. That means you're doing something really good.
That means I'm doing something good. So yes, I would try as much as possible to protect myself. So like I've had different people send me emails. Like there was a company in China that sent me an email that their name was similar to mine, so they wanted to buy off the name. But I was like, no, like I've been running with that name. You guys need to find a different name. You get what I'm saying?
So what happens if they go ahead to use the same name as yours?
They can. You see, I in Hillsborough here, I remember I was having a joke with someone. Googled Best Buy, and when I first moved, and when I got to the location, It was a landscaping company called Best Buy. But they put a space between their Best and Buy. So when it comes up on the Google thing, you cannot stop anyone. But then what I did was just I turned around and I went to the right Best Buy. That's the one I wanted to do. If someone copies your name and things like that, if your business is set up in the right way, it would still not stop what you are doing.
True.
Yes,
True.
people are going to copy it. People are going to try and reverse engineer it. People are going to make, to be honest, copying your ideas should not be something you should be worried about. You should be more worried about people not wanting to use your platform.
True. Because you need people to use your system and your products. True.
I'm more worried about people my product not selling at all. If someone is trying to copy me, that's I'm selling. That means I'm doing something right. Then now, okay, fine. That means the first stage of my project is working because someone else is trying to copy it. So then fine, let me go to the next stage. How do I improve myself? Stay static in the same idea. Eventually, it's the same thing with Netflix. Netflix is starting to lose a lot of customers. Now they need to evolve.
Right.
They need to start evolving. Netflix has become monotonous stuff. Now people are kind of bored of it. So now, what is Netflix going to do? Now they're thinking. They're starting to introduce the movies where they're now becoming Amazon, where Amazon is doing their own TV and stuff like that. Very soon, you're going to start seeing movies, like complete movies being done by Netflix, not just the way they're evolving. Because now, a lot of people now, if you log in online now, you see different websites that are copying Netflix where you can watch shows and stuff like all of that. So now, why should I pay Netflix when I can just go to some random website and watch it? So they're losing customers. So how do they combat that? They're starting to come up with different ideas. Now, all those companies that are copying Netflix, they don't have that money or that infrastructure to do that. Till now, nobody has tried to copy Amazon. You know how easy Amazon is? They literally they don't own anything at the beginning.
They don't.
They literally just deliver things for other people. And nobody has managed to recreate that. It is one of the simplest companies, but they managed to evolve over time to cloud hosting, to all other things. And now there's such a big company that the basis of Amazon, you wouldn't even understand what was Amazon for. Everybody thinks Amazon is just a selling thing. You're talking about those Amazon, the influencer section of it and things like that.
Yeah.
There's so many things that Amazon has evolved into. That's how you combat people copying you.
Anyways, to end this episode, final words from you as a startup founder, someone who is really experienced in creating products in tech.
For me, if you have an idea, start it. What's the worst that could happen? That was it for me. It's better for me to start it and fail and then move on than to not start it and keep it in the wish list. It hurts more in the wish list. If you started and it failed, then you put in. As long as you put in the work and you are comfortable and you can say to yourself that I did the work, I put in all my effort, I did the best I could, that's satisfaction. But if you never try, if you never start it, you're never going to know.
That's true. You never know how far your product will go.
You never know. You never know who will be the next product that people are going to gravitate to.
It's exactly the same way Facebook came about with someone just sitting in their dorm trying to find connections. Now, Facebook is like the top, top 4, right? Or top 5?
Yeah.
Facebook, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon. What's the last one? Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft.
I know Microsoft. I know Tesla is coming up as well. And
Tesla is coming up. Yeah.
Who thought about Tesla? Tesla as well. Like everybody was against it.
Yeah.
Stuck with it. So you never know. Your idea could be what, and also your idea could be what someone else has been waiting for.
Right. Like now, we literally cannot live without Facebook because Facebook is. There's one thing that Facebook does that I've been really, really impressed with: logins. Like you can log in with Facebook, your Facebook account on any app. And I'm really impressed.
What people don't even understand is people look at Facebook, like Facebook is not for your parents and everything. But what you have to understand is every other social network that you're using, was as a result of the success of Facebook.
Yes.
It is a byproduct of the success of Facebook. That's what encouraged people to say, okay, fine, we're going to do this. Like, even like LinkedIn and them, people didn't gravitate towards LinkedIn as much until the idea of social networking came out and like, okay, fine,
right.
let's start doing this. Like, a lot of people had the idea, but they needed somebody to start it.
Someone to bear the cut.
Exactly. So once you get that, if you have an idea, do it. And have a backup plan. Generally, one of the things to do is, a lot of people will tell you, unless you're from a rich family or you have a rich background, being a startup costs money. So one of the greatest advices that you would get is, if you have a job, do not quit your job until you have some type of assurance that this is successful. Have a backup plan. So have some type of income, because the first 2-3 years of a startup, you're not going to make any money. You're going to be in default. It's like a brand new baby. It just eats money until you start making money back. And that's why a lot of people fail sometimes as well. Because once they spend a lot of money, they don't get any money back in the first year. So start it. Like, if you have an idea and you have the financial backup, or you have someone that can back you up, or you have some way and you can make money for it, start it. Like, you never know. If it fails, yes, it's okay. Like, that's just life. Like, it could fail. There's a chance. Only about 2-3% of startups actually
make it to yes.
But we don't know which one is going to be in that 2-3%. It could be you. And also, generally, most people that actually are successful, if you go read their history, they don't have one startup.
True.
Generally, it's not the first one. It's not the one that they're known for that makes them a lot of money.
True.
But that first one gives you the advice. That first one that fails, you learn from it, you grow from it. And then the next substitute ones, the ones that come after, you know what to do, you know who to hire, you know who to talk to, you know where to go.
True.
That's the learning experience. So that's why I said, if you have an idea, go for it. Why not? Enjoy the process. It's a fun thing to do.
Well, thank you for your time. I really enjoyed this discussion. My next guest will be someone who would take over from take your idea as a startup founder, as a CEO, and takes it to the next stage of, say, okay, how do we bring in people to do that? I really enjoyed this episode, this talk.
Thank you, Annie, for having me, and I hope to be part of this experience in future. We'll see.
Yes. All right. Yeah. Have a good one. Have a good night rest. It's 7 p.m. here. I'm just like 3 there.
4 o'clock here.
4 o'clock. Okay. All right.
All right. Later.
Yes, sir. Bye.